Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Show Football Show. I hope you are all doing well on this Friday afternoon. It seems like an absolute minute, doesn't it, since we've been talking about football? What is it now? 2 weeks, I think? Yeah, something like that. I'm just trying to move my camera around a bit, but it's not. I don't seem central. Yo, Joe and the gang. Yes, feeling a bit better today. I had a bit of a rough day yesterday, but today I went on the sunbeds, did my hair. And yeah, just feeling a little bit better. Mr. Dodo, big up to you. Member now for 9 months. Hope you are all doing well. Big up to LUFC Lee, who says, "Oh, isn't Farke boring?" He said, "Yeah, I mean it was long today, wasn't it? It was long. Loads to get into. I actually saw one of your comments on the stream. I try not to comment because sometimes people are idiots, but I actually saw one of your comments, Lee, in the comments that I agree with, and we'll get into that in just a sec. Hope you're all doing well, though. Smash me a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. As Vic says, back to Operation Smash the League, and Farke said this as well about this is where the table is formed. And I believe that'll happen. As I've said to you before, top by Christmas, there or thereabouts. Anyway, top two. Massive news coming out. We spoke to Hal yesterday. He said Arblaster could be out for the season. If that happens, he's really worried. They don't have a squad with as big a depth as ours. Good first 11. Losing Arblaster, massive. And he's worried. He said yesterday on White Rose Rivals that if Arblaster's out, he thinks Leeds could pull away. Sunderland have some very tough games coming up. They've got Millwall, West Brom, and Sheffield United. That Sheffield United Sunderland game is like 3 days or 2 days after they play midweek as well. So they've got a quick turnaround. It's nice for it not to happen to us for a change. So that's going to be an interesting one as well. So I think, like our predictions that we did the other day, I think Leeds will be top by Christmas. And normally, I know it's Leeds, but normally the team top at Christmas goes on. Yeah, so fingers crossed. Someone's had a shave. Member for 32 months, Helen. Wow. What's that? Is that nearly 2 years, right? Yeah, 36. 4 more months. 3 years, sorry. Wow, that's crazy. Carol says football is back. Hope you're doing okay. I am. I'm doing all right. Honestly. I'm up and down. Preparing the funeral. I'm reading some stuff as well at the funeral. I listened to a song yesterday and that got me a bit. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be up and down, but this is my happy place. I enjoy coming on here. Looking forward to the game on Sunday as well, and hopefully we can celebrate some goals. Sam, what's the team news? Well, we'll get into it now for you, Sam, buddy. Let's go through the press conference then. We'll dive straight in. On the team news. So he said, we've had at least 2 training sessions with the lads compared to the last international break. Obviously, the last international break, we came and played Sheffield United straight away, I believe. And obviously, we win that game. We win well. But yeah, we've had 2 training sessions with the lads compared to the last international break. So that's good news for the players who were away on international duty. So they're coming back and then they're getting some training behind them. They've all come back with no injuries or illnesses. Important. So no one who was on international duty has come back with illnesses or injuries. I'm a little bit annoyed about one situation, but we'll get into that. Brendan did have a little illness, but everything was okay. He's back. It was quite beneficial for him after lots of loads. So he's had a bit of a rest. That's important because he does get beasted. There is bad news for Isaac Schmidt. He needed a little hernia surgery. He'll definitely miss Swansea, but hope to have him back in training next week. I really like Schmidt, what I saw off the bench, but it's not going to impact us that much, is it? So that's not too bad. I'd rather it be Schmidt than Firpo, for example. Apart from this, Max Wober came back after 90 minutes for Austria, which this is where the frustrating thing comes for me. He played 90 minutes, and Farke said that. He played 90 minutes straight out of the cold. His knees reacted a little bit. We have to look after him this week. That's frustrating for me, and I know fans are getting frustrated with it as well. He's not played for Leeds United. He goes on international duty. He plays 90 minutes, and now there's an issue with his knee again. I think he leaves in January. Yeah, I think he leaves in January. He did say, big news, Largy news. Sorry. Largy joined us for the first time in parts of team training this week. Next week, which is the coming games, we have 3 games in 6 days. So it will come a bit soon for the starting lineup, but could be a topic for the squad. So I think Laji Ramazani will be on the bench. He mentioned maybe getting little minutes. I think Laji is going to be an option off the bench for Leeds United, which is a massive plus. The more better players we've got available, the better, right? And Laji is that. Laji, you could argue, on form before he was injured, was our best winger. Maybe it's not even an argument. You could argue probably Nonto as well. I know he's not got the numbers we'd have liked, but yeah. Yeah, so Laji, first team, back in team training, happy days. Big up to Joe Blackburn, who's been a member for 9 months. What a gen. International teams doing their thing again, not really caring for the players' health, just the results. Do you know what as well, though? Like, Wober has to play a part as well, I think. I'd be a bit like, hang on a minute, mate. You played 90 minutes and now something's up with your knee. But I do hear what you're saying as well. He does, doesn't he, Sam? Definitely does. So it's good news that Laji's, will be there. Yeah, it's frustrating, Vega. I can't lie. It is. It's annoying that he can't be available at all. Then he plays 90 minutes straight out the gate, and now there's something up with his knee again. He's gone in January. If a club comes for him, he'll go. Leeds might even loan him out, maybe, and get another player in. That's another thing. We need to be getting active in January. We'll get onto some recruitment stuff in a sec because he spoke about it. He was asked then specifically about Ampadu. He's in the final stages of his rehab. Won't train next week with the team. Maybe after that, he can hopefully join us and be a big boost. So that's huge. We might see him late December, potentially. There is a quick turnaround. We will need to use the squad. I hope Farke uses this squad comparative to last season. So, yeah. Mr. Dodo, just on Wober. I'd rather he just go at this point. Wages have been used that yeah, exactly. I think there is a bit of that as well. Wober don't want to play, in my opinion. I don't know. He probably wants to be first choice. He knows he's got no chance. You're not getting in over Strauch or Rodon for me. So here's what it is. He'll be going and playing 90 minutes for Austria thinking, how am I not playing in the Championship? Do you know what I mean? So he'll be looking for that move. And even if he does play, is he going to put it all in? Maybe risk a proper injury rather than a pretend one that he's got. Danny says, Danny, but you're always quite negative with stuff like this. We will. And if we don't, it's negligent. But I think we will. We have to. I've said before, we have to follow suit. We have to follow Ipswich and Southampton. What did they do? They got promoted. We got one player in, left it late, a right back who then couldn't get in over Archie Gray. We have to be active. I know we're active. Now, of course, you can take that with a pinch of salt, but I know we're active. Maybe more will be revealed closer to the time. I've been told to keep shut, but hey ho. Salam, Joe. Welcome, salam, brother. I have said a few prayers for you. Thank you very much. I've been doing that myself. May she rest in peace. Thank you very much, Abdul Rahman Al Khalifi. Condolences, brother, at this sad period in your life. Thank you on behalf of us all here for going on strong. Stay strong always. Best wishes, bro. Thank you very much for that. Mashallah, brother. Thank you. That's very nice from Abdul Rahman Al Khalifi. Farke on what he and players have been up to during the international break. He says, first and foremost, it's about recovering because this league is a marathon. You need energy and quality in the final stages when it comes to March, April, and May. From now until the next international break in March, there is more or less no breaks. Of course, we have the FA Cup during this period. The table will be made. And I genuinely believe, and I have maintained, and remember, I know a lot of you have come for me. A lot of you have come for me, said, front and centre, game week 1. Rightly so. But when we are top at Christmas and a gap has started to be created, please come back and say, you know what? I hold my hands up, Joe. You were right. Because I believe Leeds United will be the team that create the gap. This is where my head's at. Okay. Now, I don't agree with this, Michael. I genuinely don't agree with this. We've seen some rotation. We've seen the strikers rotate, Joseph and Pirro. We've seen him use different wingers, Solomon, James, Nonto, Ramazani. Of course, the midfield was forced on him. We've seen Byram. Can't just change it for change's sake. I think it's an unfair stick to heat him with. Yeah. So, yeah. I think it's unfair, but we'll see, won't we? Yeah. Anyway, So he mentioned about the league being made. He did say it's important during the first week of the international break to calm the load, give the lads a bit of time off. Then we had 3 good training days, concentrated on some individual work with the players who were here. And it's also beneficial to do exercises you don't do when 20 players are around, more in depth. This week it was a build-up for the Swansea game to prepare with a smaller group, then step by step, more people return and we have the big group. He was asked specifically on Swansea about it being tough and the fact we have 3 games in 6 days. We want to start on the front foot. Training is intense. Popey asked about self-development during the international breaks. I'm not sure how this... What was meant, maybe, but Farke says more important to recover while you are in charge. It is hard to spend time away from the training ground. Do this between jobs or in the summer break. Go and get new ideas. Have to focus on recovery. Speaking specifically on him. Spoken to colleague and conversations can give you a hint of something. Have to be ready for new information. In the lower tiers, you can pick up things you might want to implement. Important not to overdo it because it's a long season. Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, I don't want to say Popey was waffling. I really like Adam Pope, but my God, why did the BBC get all the questions now? By the way, it used to be like 1 or 2 apiece, and now there's loads. I don't understand. So yeah. BBC get all the questions now. Farke was asked then about the player workload for this Swansea game. You like it a bit more. It makes the upcoming schedule more difficult. 3 games in 6 days and the time for recovery is not long. As a manager, I prefer this to have 2 training sessions back with the team. Last time we had Friday versus Sheffield United, we were excellent without a training session. Not sure what this says about my training sessions or as a manager. A little bit of a joke there. I find it beneficial, and I hope the players do as well. The fact that they can have true training sessions of course, it's a benefit. Yeah, of course, it's a benefit, isn't it? Because we were able to properly focus on Swansea and what they're going to do. Love this, Kieran. I got a lot of this, and it genuinely was touching. He says, time to actually get into the thick of the season. Can't wait, mate. Can't wait. 3 games in 6 days. Saturday, Tuesday. Bring it on. Thank you for the content, mate. I know you're going through a tough time, but you really help. Yeah, there was a lot of that, mate, and that's nice. But Kieran, the feeling is genuinely reciprocated. Like on Wednesday, I was like, I want to go home. I want to be on my own, and then I want to, I want to do some work, and that's why we did like the prediction up to Christmas video, because it's interactive and I like chatting with you folks. Back to winning ways. I hope so, Jay. I hope so. Do players respond to your excellent stats? I think this is quite poignant because this is something that I've been leaning on in terms of Leeds United stats so far this season. Luton has been the best team in the league. Of course, me and Joe had a debate. He believes it's league table and all that sort of stuff, So yeah, and I get that. I don't dispute that. But Farke was asked about this, about the stats, and I do want to share a graphic that just shows how good Leeds United have been. But this is what Farke said specifically on the stats. He says stats are important. We have to listen to data and be objective about what you're doing. The games are too tight. We don't do work old school 40 years ago without stats and stick to gut instinct of the manager. That's what I mean. And data has come on, and it's important to use that. And it's important. It allows us as football fans, I believe, to be objective and to take a step back and go, okay, yeah, we lost that game. However, if we continue playing this way, we're going to win more because all the stats say so. Do you know what I mean? It allows me anyway to be more objective. He says, nowadays we've got experts in every field. This is not a one-man show. We organise in a scientific way what you can improve. Be there with an objective judgment. The players are so well educated nowadays. They expect you to work at the highest level and be up to date to use these influencers. And he actually went on to say, and I think this is quite good and confident and shows belief. He says, we know we should sit in first, but we are not. And that means there is still something to improve. Our conversion, for example, which was spoken about. All the key metrics were in the right, are in the right area, but the conversion isn't. The conversion is really poor. Evie's touched on that. Lockie's touched on that in the past as well. The conversion rate is what's letting Leeds United down. Just on this, the difference is we're third and 2 points off the top. We're not bottom of the fecking league. That was the difference. Okay, not bottom of the league, but we're not near the relegation zone. I could understand if we were nowhere near the top, but we're third, 2 points off the top. So there's correlation. That guy was just chatting shit because we were in relegation zone. He said we should be 11th. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that. Let's have a look. Grim Reaper says, Joe, my heartfelt condolences to you during this incredibly difficult time. Please know that you are not alone. We are here to support you in any way you need. May your soul rest in peace. Thank you very much for that, brother. It's really nice for you to say thank you. Loads of great words, loads of support, loads of nice messages. It genuinely is, it's been heartwarming. Do you know what I mean? And I'd feel a lot worse if I didn't do this and didn't have views. Do you know what I mean? Because then I would just be in my own thoughts. So I'm really grateful. And it's not bullshit. You know, I'm not... Okay, we have banter and all that sort of stuff, but I believe as a content creator, I'm quite personable. You just know about my life. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I mean what I say, and I'm genuinely appreciative to be able to have that. Yeah, definitely. So on the stats, he said, we should sit in first, but we are not. That means there is still something to improve our conversion. He said, and this is what people say, he says, still the only one that matters is to score goals and avoid goals. There is no replacement for 3 points. Then he brought up a quote from Brian Clough, which around these parts don't do. As he said it, I was like, stay away. And then he said Nigel. I was like, definitely not Nigel. But he basically said, I think there's a quote from Brian Clough. We were a good team on paper, but the game was played on grass. I like this. We know statistics say we should be in position 1, but there are things we need to work on. And that's what a lot of people, there is that side of it will say to me, yeah, but we're not top. We're not top, Joe. So these stats mean nothing. And Farke's also echoing that as well. So let's not try get on his back with that because he's agreeing with large portions of the fan base. Now, what I did want to do is share with you, this is actually a graphic that Joe Donoghue, Eric's Experimental 361, a data visualization creator, have shown how dominant Leeds United have been in all departments this season. And I want to show this. This is crazy. Us and Middlesbrough, really. But if you have a look at this, it shows here championship expected goals created versus allowed per match. And this is up to the 18th of November. So you can see here, Leeds are far and away the best team for these metrics. We have the better attack and also the better defense. You can see here, look, we know Burnley great at the back, but they just don't create a lot. Hence why they're here. Poor Plymouth, worst attack, worst defense. But you can see Leeds are just there, far and away. There's only Middlesbrough that are close to us. And I've said for a few weeks, if you watch me regularly, that, Middlesbrough do worry me. And if they click, they could well push. Genuinely, it's still early in the season. So if, I know, Vic, this is the point. I mean, where are Sunderland? They're here in the mix. And we're seeing that. We're seeing Sunderland's performances now revert back to type. Yeah. Yeah, he and Mr. Dodo, I do. But what it does show us is that Leeds are going in the right direction. And for those that want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, at the end of the day, say if we change the manager and we could go out and have a better attack, but then Leeds United might move from here and create loads of chances, but be poor in defence, and be round here. Here we have best of both worlds. Best of both worlds. And the only problem I see with Leeds United currently is goal scoring. The chances are there, but they're not finishing them. Mateo Joseph's able to do it on international duty. He's not doing it at Ellen Road. Joel Pirro's doing it, but not enough. And also, I do think we lack something when he starts games. See, it can be boring, El. I hear you. But for me, and I've said it myself after Bristol City award, even the 2-0 win against, but I don't care. If I'm honest, I don't care enough. Bielsa ruined football for us. Of course, nothing will ever compare. Yeah, nothing will ever compare. But just want to win the league. I just want to come second. I want to be in the Premier League. I want to be playing the best. You know, I want to be playing the best. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Ollie. This is my thought process. Just get me out of the league. But the metrics, again, it shows that we're going in the right. Yeah, exactly. At this level, I believe. I believe this. At this level is the best we'll get. So, yeah. But we're 2 losses, 1 loss, 1 point, a draw away from the fans saying we're worse. And it's like, I just think sometimes we have to maybe sit back and, yeah. Yeah, man. Anyway, we move. Sorry. Right. Farke on changes and recruitment. Yeah, so let's talk about recruitment then. So yeah, here we go. Look, this is the chance conversion rate that we talk about. Leeds have a 7.2%, 13th in the league for conversion rate of chances. I know the XG might be bob on, but you know there'll be teams outperforming that and that. We aren't. It's the conversion rates that's letting Leeds United down. But if we can get that right, boom, then you know the league needs to be put on notice. So he was asked specifically about changes in recruitment, because obviously we know Greta Steinson's now going to be working on a multi-club model with the 49ers. I know they've not said that, but that's what's happening, because what other football clubs do we have that he's foreseeing? There's only Leeds. Adam Underwood, obviously promoted, as is one of the lads, is it Alex, I believe, has been promoted as well from the scouting department. But he said, these decisions are not for me. They're for our key people. I'm not running the club. I'm running the sports side. I will not comment on that in public. I do give my views internally on this topic. What affects me right now is the step up of Alex Davis and Adam Underwood. I've worked with him before with the academy and young players. We have a fantastic relationship. Again, this is good. The development of Archie Gray, Charlie Cruz, Sam Chambers, James DeBayo, Adam plays an important role. And what this seems like to me, in the summer, too many cooks spoiled the broth. Yeah? Nick Hammond, Jordan Miles, Greta Steinson, Daniel Farke, Parag Marate. It almost feels now that we're aligning with Farke because he's coming out, and of course he might be talking beans, but he's talking about having worked with Alex Davis, having worked with Adam Underwood and they have a good relationship. He says, I think it's a positive. Alex I've worked with before because he was in charge of scouting. We have a good relationship. We work closer now, and it is a bit more intense. So it almost feels to me that this is more in tune, more in line with Daniel. And maybe Parag has gone, yeah, this didn't work. So I'm going to remove some people here. I'm going to move. You know what I mean? So it also shows that the powers that be are backing the manager. You know, I believe it reads as they're really backing the manager. You know, Farke reciprocated this and said, look, I have to praise Parag for this. New owners sometimes take their own people into key positions, but we have 2 lads in Adam and Alex who've worked here for decades. So again, that is a positive that they're able to see that. He went on to say that we would rather develop people within the club. We don't want to develop just players. We want to develop staff. It's always great to promote and develop people in the staff in leading roles. And he said, while they have white blood in their veins, it says a lot about how wisely our owners act with such decisions. It's not for me to judge, but in general terms, I believe it's quite an important picture. He spoke specifically about, you know, these people have been at the club for decades. So this can only be a positive. And it does show for those, you know, there were a load of tribe people who, I remember, you know, the Americans won't take this, you know. Nah, they'll sack him. Well, he's still here. And they're making changes in the background that are backing the manager for me. You know, that's how I read into that. But again, that is just an opinion. It's not factual, but in my opinion, it shows that they're backing the manager. And we'll see in January. That's going to be the real litmus test. If we see bam, 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 because we know Farke wasn't happy in the end. Let's be honest. You know, people say, oh, well, he didn't want this and he wanted that. And they can, you know, always side with the club. I looked at it more as Farke wanted a 10 and he didn't get a 10, and he told them about replacing Rutter and they didn't do it, and that's why changes might have happened. And maybe in January we see a 10. We maybe even see a 9. We've seen some more options. January will be the proper litmus test. He was asked then about working specifically with the academy and be involved in player development. And again, some people might not like this, but I like this. Just my preference. He said, I'm not a friend of praising the young lads too much. It's a different animal, senior and youth level. I'm far away from over-interpreting this. He doesn't gas players up. We've seen him pull the reins on Archie Gray. We've seen him pull the reins on Rutter. Now, people that don't like Farke batter him for that. Oh, he's taking their individuality out of the man. He's stifling them and all that because they have an agenda, in my opinion. It's right for him to stem it. Because look at Charlie. Let's be honest, right? People now have a different opinion. But I can play a video from content creators. It's not just fans, but also content creators. Everyone believed Charlie Crew was going to be Archie Gray 2.0. And don't say you didn't, because everyone did. But now everyone's Archie Gray, and he stemmed that. And we've brought in Gulavogi. You know, so we as a fan base can get easily gassed because it's academy products. Of course, we love that. We love that. And he could have come out and gassed it up, and then we're like, why ain't Charlie playing? He's called up, he's called up to Wales and stuff. He understands the step-up's absolutely massive, massive. He says we have different cornerstones that are important as a club. We try to take the best decisions. The academy, and again, this is different departments, right? And I think we forget about all this sort of stuff. So I found this quite interesting. He said the academy tries to bring as many players through because it's a testament of their work. If I'm head of academy and I'm getting 5 players in the first team, happy days for me. I'm getting a bonus from Parag Marate, yeah? The scouting department wants to bring as many players in, i.e. I brought these players, look how good these are, use them. And he says, and I get this, but I tried to be there to overlook it all and take the best decisions of what's the best choices for the club at that time. So you need a good mix, building the squad out of youth and energy. Young players who are desperate to raise their game and identify with the club because obviously they've been brought up through the ranks, and also some more older, more experienced players. Again, all this reads to me is a real aligning of the recruitment team and Farke. This shows me a backing of the manager. This is how I read into it. He said, if you allow one department to decide, it's never balanced. It's always helpful and beneficial if you have top quality people in the right positions. I have to say, Martin Diggle in the academy, we have a good relationship. Scott with our under-21s, we speak about players and what's necessary. There's a real understanding. It really shows for me a real synergy behind the scenes. People might disagree, but this is what it shows me. And it's good. It's good. Spoke now about Swansea. He spoke about Cullen having form. Listen, if you think Cullen's in form when their striker or 10, wherever he's going to play, and also Vipotnik have got 2 goals. Swansea just don't score goals. They don't create many chances. Hence why a lot of the games are like 1-0. Someone put in the live chat on the thing, they're the Welsh Millwall. I liked that. Although, to be fair, they'll possess the ball. They're not going to stand off. I just think it'll be 2 similar sides and Leeds United will be better. Like we saw last season. We beat them. Both games, we scored 3 in one, 4 in another. Yes, they did get goals, but we scored 7, they scored 2. I think we win the game. I do. I don't think it's overconfident to do that. Welsh wall, I like that, J Racer. They're different, though. It's because they have possession of the football. We'll be better at that than them. It could be tight, but I think over the course of the night, it will be fine. He did say, I'm respectful to Swansea. Teams struggle to score against them. They concede 1 or 2. They do keep clean sheets. They have the second highest possession behind us. Not easy to get the ball. It's also not easy to score against them. Not because they're amazing defensively, but it's because they have the ball. They have the ball for 60% of the time. It's hard to score. That's why Leeds United play that way. You can tell that that's Farke's thinking, right? We know that. We dominate the ball. And I know it can be pedestrian. And I know it can be left to right. But he said it's not easy to score against them if they have the ball. This tells me his ethos. If we have the ball. And that's easy as pie for anyone to go, well, if you've got the ball, you can't score. But that will be his point, right? That will be his point. That's why it's hard to score against them. He said, we want to dominate this game in possession. We have to be more efficient than we have been before. and we want to give ourselves the chance to create chances. Swansea will be tight, but we want to win that possession battle. It won't be an amazing game. Although last season, I don't know if was he their manager last season or did they change it? Can't remember. But we scored 7 last season. Pirro got a goal in both. Happy days. So he went on to say, not easy to score against them. Great in possession. That, you know, in order to score, they'd have to score an own goal. It's unlikely they would concede at all. Do not expect it to be 10 1-versus-1 chances for us. It'll be nip and tuck. It'll be tight. And this is where efficiency has to come into it. Leeds have to be efficient. They come into many good possessions in the build-up and midfield play. Matt Grimes is good. I know, but he is good. You know, Ronaldo in midfield as well. They've got some other key players. Not amazing. Cabango at the back's decent. Good on the ball. And mentioned about how they're in control because, you know, they have possession of the football. No excuses, Sean. Of course we should win. Where's excuses coming from? Don't just get rid of your agenda. What excuses? They dominated against good sides. It's credit to the manager, and I like what they do in midfield play. They lack the cutting edge in the final third. Again, Vopotnik and Cullen, 2 goals apiece. The next scorers have got 1. Grimes 1, Cabango 1. Yeah. But if we mention it too much, they'll score on Sunday. Hence, you know, they aren't scoring. They probably will. Yeah, just Leedsy. Cullen will play with confidence after a brace. We have to be on it. I like the way they play football. He's going to praise Cullen, but I'm not concerned. He was asked then about Swansea and Luton because obviously it's a quick turnaround. We play Luton on Wednesday and then we play... Who is it? I can't remember. I don't think that's true. We create chances. We do create chances. We're not like Swansea or Burnley. I showed you the graphic. If we lack, my point is, just on this, right? If we lack creativity in the final third, we're the best team in the league for it. We are. So imagine what the other teams think. This is the point. It's like we're wanting perfection. And I understand it. I do understand it because we've got an amazing side in that. But we have the best attack and best defence. Both. What more do we want? That's the point. Not creativity. Bang, Vic. Nonto has the most big chances created in the league. Nonto. Our players. No, but they do when you're talking about creating chances, because the metrics, so yeah, we need that word that I made up. We need that clinicality, composure, making the right decisions, making the right pass, choosing when to shoot. You know, like for me, there's many times Aronson, when he went through against QPR, could have squared it to Nonto. Nonto's always going and tightening the angle for him when he can put it across goal. There is decisions. You know, there you go, Zach Drummond. Brendan is a good example. People say he isn't creative, but he has the highest expected assists on the team. This is the point. We do create. We want to create more. Like, the thing is, if we were clinical, we wouldn't be having the conversation about creating chances. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. If we had a killer, we'd already be out of sight. This is a thing. We do. Everything tells us that. That's why it's good to sometimes look at that, because we can, yeah. Anyway, and like for us to have a player, Nonto, most, but you know, all this, everything reads as Leeds United doing it. If we were sat top, people would be cool. It's just because we're in third and there's a nervousness, and I get it. I do. Yes. Okay. So Swansea and Luton, very different. Not much time to adjust. Think about the latter at all. Does he think about Luton? He said, no, I'm just focusing on Swansea. In the background, my analysis team do all that. We don't. Yeah. He was asked about international performances, and this is where I agree with LUFC Lee in the chat, because he says, of course, international. I think the reason Graham posed the question to him probably was because Joseph scored again and scored a few. Did he get a hat-trick in the international break? Man, wasn't really about. I know he scored a few. And then people use that as a way to batter Farke. by the way. Listen, Matteo's had chances. Many. He's the one not finishing them. It's not about us creating more for him to make it easier for him to score. Matteo's had chances, and it's him that's fussed his lines. Let's be honest. Shauna, I've done this to death, bro. I've done this. The reason we're third is because we're not finishing. We've just spoken about all that. I've done that to death. We're third because we aren't scoring. The Farke said it. Farke said it as well. You know? Yeah. I did see that. Oh, we need to more cutbacks, and we need to be doing this for Joseph. No, he needs to find the back of the net. When he's 1-on-1, that chance he had to score. He missed one from 3-4 yards. Smashed it over. This is the point. This is the point. The issue we have is conversion rate. This is on the players, not on the manager. I believe. No worries, Sean. Farke, so he said it on international duty. He said it has an influence, but it matters here, you know, because Pascal was not called up, so that shouldn't be a disadvantage for him. But it was more about Matteo, the question, and he did touch on it. It's important to have a good international spell for confidence. Matteo scored. I think it's a boost for him. It's always better when they perform well, but I think it's also fair that I take more into account when we are in training and the games before. Yeah. I have an eye on it. You know, players come back sharp in a good mood and you take into account, but I'm not over-interpreting it. He then spoke specifically on Solomon. He said Solomon got player of the match against Belgium. He was good against France. I think Solomon will start again. Just because he specifically alluded to Solomon. We know Ramazani's not ready. I think that he will start with Solomon, which will set the cat amongst the pigeons, but I think he will. Then he was asked about, Gulavogi and Charlie Crew. He said, delighted for Charlie to be with them at 18-year-old. Obviously, with Wales, it's beneficial, even in just a warm-up. On the other hand, you would wish for some minutes for him, because we do want him involved in squads. The break might be the best time for some harder minutes or practice games. It's fine margins. He spoke about Joshua, saying, Sean, now he can cover in holding midfield. It's still work to develop our young lads. Sam Chambers got a few minutes. Credit to Wales and their communication, whether it's Craig Bellamy or the academy manager. Everyone understands we want to do the best for the players. We have a good relationship with Wales, he said. We have a good relationship with Wales. And is it any wonder? Because we have a long history of, Welsh players at this football club. And also, we have a lot of Welsh contingent at the minute, don't we? So it's all positive. And that was your press conference in a nutshell. Saying in a nutshell, there were loads there, 40 minutes worth. Big news coming out. Solomon is back, but won't be starting. Will be on the bench. I think we'll see him. We might not see him against Swansea, but definitely during during these next few games. See, international break, boom, get away. So that I think he'll start. Solomon, Joseph Pirro. I think he'll go Pirro. I'm okay with that. Yeah, there were loads. I think there is a real backing of the manager behind the scenes with the changes in recruitment. We'll see that come to the light in January. But it seems to be more in-house and more in tune with what Farke wants, if you want my honest opinion. And Farke's acknowledged that all the key metrics are showing Leeds should be in first, but we're not. So he acknowledges that, and he says we need to score more goals. He's aware of what's the problem. And that's that. I'll see you Sunday now. And go to get the young ones. I got loads of Christmas decks from my mum. I already have Christmas decorations, but I was like, does anyone want these? I said, do you know what? I'm going to take them. I'm going to get my kids, and we're going to put the Christmas decks up and put my mum's Christmas decks up as well. So that's going to be nice, wholesome. Going to get us a takeaway and watch a movie. I think that's the plan. And see if that new red one, if the copy's any good, because we could watch that. So it's nice. It's the little things, isn't it? It's the little things. Look, Leeds United will win on the weekend, so that's when I'll probably next see on Sunday, unless I do a pre-record at some point, maybe. But yeah, listen, thanks for your support as always. I'll see you at Sunday at 2:00 if I don't. Leeds United are going to win. I think we'll win 2-0. I think we'll win 2-0. Pirro and Solomon, just because I want Solomon to score. But yeah, Pirro, thank you. Evie, thank you, love. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jamie, Luke B, Mr. Dodo, L, Danny, Orleans, Oliver. Oh, Oliver Arblaster's out as well for the season. I know we don't want to see players injured, but it's a boost for us, isn't it? Let's be honest, it's a boost. Yeah, Pirro's back. Boom. When you need a goal, I'm lagging. That's probably time for me to go. I need to go pick up my kids. Peace out. I love you all. Thanks as always for your support. See you Sunday if I don't do a pre-record. Love you all.